Hong Kong and West Berlin stand at opposite ends of the Eurasian landmass, about as far apart as two cities can be geographically and culturally. And yet, for most of the second half of the 20th century, they were doppelgangers in an important way. Each was a focal point of Cold War tensions, linked by the shared stresses and strains of being battlegrounds between two diametrically opposed ideologies. Hong Kong, like West Berlin, was used as a listening post onto a nearby place. This parallel was not lost on John le Carré. When the author of The Spy Who Came In From the Cold decided to set a novel in Asia in the late 1970s, he opened The Honorable Schoolboy with Hong Kong scenes involving information gatherers, some spies, some journalists, who were intently interested in the People's Republic of China. During the final dozen years of the last century, the unwinding of the Cold War changed each city in a profound way. For Berlin, Germany's reunification in 1990 made the city whole again. It is now Germany's capital and the country's most important metropolis. Walking or driving around Berlin in 2019, you can move between what were once parts of two very different cities without necessarily noticing you have done so, as long as no landmarks associated with the Berlin Wall are in sight. Checkpoint Charlie is now a museum, and the last guard tower near the wall on the other side, from which East German soldiers sometimes shot at escapees heading for the West, is the focus of a historical preservation effort. When it comes to magazines and newspapers, it makes no difference in 21st century Berlin where exactly you are in the city when you want to buy one. If you prefer digitally digestible forms of information, the web works identically east and west of the old wall. The Hong Kong story is different. In 1997, Britain handed over its prized colony to the People's Republic of China, making it a special administrative region that was supposed to enjoy a high degree of autonomy for 50 years. Freedoms of speech, assembly, and protest are still protected in Hong Kong under the territory's constitution, called the Basic Law. This was to be a grand experiment. These freedoms are not available anywhere on the Chinese mainland. In Hong Kong, you can buy biographies of and writings by the Dalai Lama. Hong Kong newspapers run articles that criticize and cartoons that mock top leaders of China's Communist Party. The Great Firewall makes surfing the web a very different experience on opposite sides of the border. If you are in the mainland, unless you use a VPN to help you scale the digital wall, you get no access to Twitter, Facebook, the New York Times, or specialized sites devoted to such varied things as The Gate of Heavenly Peace, a documentary about the Tiananmen protests and June 4th massacre of 1989, and the Shenyun pageant that is linked to the banned Falun Gong sect. By contrast, those who come to Hong Kong from Toronto, Toledo, Lisbon, or London are likely to notice little difference between using the web at home and doing so there, except that their internet connection will likely be faster than they are used to, and their internet provider's reach more extensive. But in subtle and not so subtle ways, some old differences between how lives used to be lived on opposite sides of the border separating Hong Kong from the mainland began to blur or disappear late in the last century. A new high-speed train that connects Hong Kong to Shenzhen and Guangzhou, called the Express Rail Link, illustrates this. The Handover deal that Whitehall and Beijing struck in 1984 stipulated that Hong Kong would be able to maintain a separate legal system under a framework known as One Country, Two Systems until 2047. According to the Basic Law, no department of the Central People's Government and no province, autonomous region, or municipality directly under the central government may interfere in the affairs which the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region administers on its own. But in part of a new express rail link terminal in Hong Kong that opened in 2018, called the West Kowloon Station, all security is handled by mainland employees, and for the first time on Hong Kong soil, travelers are subject to mainland Chinese laws instead of Hong Kong laws.